The future of Doctor Who. God, that sounds dramatic. Yep, barely 2 days after Power of the Doctor, we got quite a few very interesting bits of Doctor Who news, and I'm going to talk about it. A bit late, because I'm unorganised. Thanks for still watching this video though, you're class. So, let's break down the news. Now first up, for the show going forward, we have a brand new logo. And when I say I had a very intense reaction to this logo, I mean it. Well, it's a logo. I know, right? Bloody hell, that was intense. Joking aside, I'm a massive fan. Look, I'm very nostalgic for that era of classic Who. I really like this more like solid, like diamond logo instead of the more like stretched out stuff. Also think, especially for like the anniversary era, bringing back what I would say is one of the most iconic logos of the classic series is fantastic. And just giving it that cool, modernised twist, I really enjoy it. To be fair, that seems to be the reaction from everyone. I'm not really sure I'm delivering much interesting, fun, fascinating content when I say that. So yeah, logo good. Next up, we've got to talk about the Disney Plus Doctor Who situation. I have to admit, we have to talk about this with a couple of, like, little doubts. Because I have to admit, there is some stuff about this deal we don't quite know. What we do know is that Disney Plus going forward will be the new overseas home, so not in the UK, but everywhere else will be where Doctor Who and the new series going forward will live. My thoughts on that are mixed. First of all, I'm glad it's staying a BBC thing in the UK, just because I feel like, it started in the UK, that's its home, that's its living and breathing home, and even though the BBC has been very problematic sometimes in ways that other YouTubers, especially Council of Geeks, have explained a lot better than I ever can, I still think this is the natural home for Doctor Who. And then I think there is a massive plus side for Doctor Who being on Disney Plus. Having one massive company behind it for the rest of the world, trying to, promote it and give it that, like that stage, and Disney Plus itself being a big, place to watch things. Overall, I think that is good news. I know companies like BBC America, and I think is it ABC, I believe? In Australia, those are a couple of big companies that have lost their stuff to Doctor Who, and they've been showing it for years. And there are elements of that are quite sad, especially from people grew up watching it on those channels. But overall, I have always wanted Doctor Who to be respected for the massive show it deserves to be, and I think a move like this, with a big company behind it, is very good for the brand going forward. Now, what we fully don't know is how involved Disney are going forward. Trust me, people have been quite rude to people about not knowing the full details. People have been attacking William Who, and if you attack William Who, you've got to go through me first. Don't be mean to my William Who. We know, for example, that most of all, Disney will not have much, if any, creative control over the show. As far as we know, Russel still has, creative full control. However, what has been unclear is whether this is just a distribution deal or whether Disney will actively be putting money into the production of Doctor Who. Obviously, BBC/Bad Wolf, who make it, will be getting money from Disney to share it because you'd need to buy distribution rights. But while the show is being made, we don't know whether Disney is actually pumping money into the brand. But while the show is being made, we don't know if Disney's actually putting some money into the production. There have been reports in the Telegraph saying that may be the case. There have been some things saying it isn't confirmed. We don't know. But I have to admit, with the concepts that Doctor Who can pull off, yes, I'd love it to, remain quaint. I don't really feel like it needs the, big Marvel budgets. But just think about Power of the Doctor. It was really, really cool, but for example, with that train scene, you could tell maybe if that had a little bit more money into it, they could have maybe done something a little bit cooler with it. That's just how I feel about that. Overall, what have we learned from the Disney Plus situation? There are positives, there are negatives, but never insult William Who. Ever again. Ever. None of yous. I love you, Will. And finally, there are just some little extra things that have been revealed that I do want to go over. One of the big ones is that it's now pretty much confirmed what the numbering system of the Doctors going forward will be. According to Russel himself, David is the 14th Doctor and Ncuti is the 15th Doctor. Now I have to admit, I'm probably not keen on this. Especially as we know that Tennant is only going to be in it for 3 specials, me and a lot of others were quite heavily suspecting that he was going to be given some form of subtitle. Like Joe Martin had for The Ruth Doctor or The Fugitive Doctor. He had a version of David Tennant installed in Earth Journey's End as the Meta-Crisis Doctor. And most famously, John Hurt as the War Doctor. And I was kind of hoping they'd do a similar thing here. First of all, just because I don't think David needs 2 numbers specifically. And also think it might have just been a bit less confusing for everyone. But people seem a lot more irritated by that fact than I am, and I have to admit, at the end of the day, while yes, I'd prefer David to have a subtitle and Ncuti to be the 14th Doctor, I don't actually think it matters that much. At the end of the day, they're just numbers in our silly little fans' heads, and I don't think it matters that much. Next, we kind of now know just generally Doctor Who in itself within 2023, and the plan going forward. Unlike we thought, where we thought we might be getting 3 specials laid out, across the year of 2023, instead, it looks like they're all happening in November. Which I do see both sides of. Obviously, we've got to celebrate the anniversary's in November. However, as a Doctor Who fan, another 13 months without any Doctor Who, it's sad, and obviously we've got to wait for David Tennant. I just want my DT back! And then we also know that in 2023, alongside those specials, we're going to get Ncuti in an episode, like a solo episode, around Christmas. Obviously, we know that Ncuti is going to be involved in somewhere in the 60th, but it's nice to know that we're going to get, like a full episode with him next year. And then it's very likely we will get Series 14 in early 2024. I hope it's early, because obviously Flux was 2021. For a 2-year, 3-year gap between proper seasons. I know we've had some complications with showrunner changes and then the anniversary, but I'd quite like some consistency getting back to proper seasons of the show. And that is everything. Did I smash it, Kermit? Did I? I hope I did. I hope you enjoyed that. And what I've done is I've got a great Power of the Doctor review filled with all of my thoughts, little bits on the Chris Chibnall era in general, and just overall a big overview of Power of the Doctor. You can click this video. I promise yous. It's a great review. It is a fantastic review. So why don't you watch it?